Arlington.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I'm proud to speak to this motion on behalf of the PC Party and convey our support for the motion. Speaker, and to all members here in the legislature, I'm reminded every time I walk from the main legislative building to my offices in the North Wing of a profound statement that's engraved in the walls of that passageway. And it says, "Where minds and souls find freedom's ways." The builders of our democracy understood without reservation that this institution was and is the safeguard for the freedoms and liberties of the people of Ontario. They and we all ought to understand that it is only societies and communities that safeguard the freedoms and liberties of people that are truly safe and secure. One only has to visit other countries, such as North Korea and Saudi Arabia, among many others, to know and understand firsthand societies that arbitrarily or unduly limit people's freedoms and liberties are also places where individual safety is in jeopardy. We have a duty as representatives to both ensure our police officers have reasonable and proportional tools to conduct their work and protect people and property from crime, but also ensure that these tools do not contradict our constitutional safeguards of freedom from arbitrary arrest and detention. I welcome the member's motion. The conversation and debate on the matter of street checks and carding, in my view, is long overdue, but it is essential and necessary. The minister's public consultations, although he spoke briefly of them, in my view, have been more of a facade and not truly a reasonable and responsible approach. And the minister's assertion that he will create regulations causes me and many others great concern. It would be unwise and detrimental if the minister used his authority to create regulations without first bringing his proposals in the form of a bill to this House for our rigorous scrutiny, examination, and evaluation by all members of the House. It would also be inconceivable, Speaker, that the minister would be able to prescribe by regulation in sufficient detail the correct manner to deal with the millions of police interactions with people in such a diverse province as Ontario, such a diverse province with communities of small, rural and remote communities, of mid-sized cities, and even North America's fourth largest city. Speaker, I would also add that whenever challenges and problems arise regarding public policy, it is always best to take a moment and study the problem through the lens of first and primary principles. That is what we have done on this side of the House. It ought to be clear and readily understood that police do have the authority to detain and question anyone if they have reasonable and probable grounds to do so, or if there are exigent circumstances present. This is and always has been an appropriate constraint on the powers of police and a reasonable limit upon the freedoms of people. The motion by the member for Bromley-Gore-Malton is consistent with these principles. And I'd like to finally conclude with a passage from a former Chief High Court Justice of Ontario, who also presided over the Ontario Royal Commission of Inquiry into Civil Rights, commissioned by Premier John Robarts in the 70s. His name was Justice James McGruer, and I quote, "The object of the Royal Commission, over which I have the honour to preside, is to strengthen the foundations and pillars of justice by drawing blueprints for improvement of the laws of Ontario as they express the powers of the state in its relation to the individual. Laws are not weapons, but shields, serving to protect and regulate the rights, freedoms, and liberties of the individuals from whom the authority and power of the state is derived." Thank you. We look forward to, and when this comes to a vote, I hope we all leave this chamber and remember that profound statement, "Where minds and souls find freedom's way."